I left on March 23rd, 2013. I found out about 3 months before that date that I was going on this trip. That's when I committed. My buddy wanted me to do it with him, so I said, okay, I'll quit my job. Let's do it. The thing I needed to prepare for was gear, and that took all of 3 months. I started going to REI and doing my research and getting the right gear for the trip when I committed. And It cost, man, I probably threw down and spent about $1,500 in gear. You got really expensive. You need a really nice jacket, like a down jacket. That ain't cheap. You need your really nice tent or your shelter. I slept in a hammock, so that ain't cheap. You got your pack. Your pack's not cheap. The really things that are really expensive for the trail was your summer sleeping bag and your winter sleeping bag, and you don't carry them at once. You get them shipped to you, and at when you need to switch from a winter jacket to a summer or a winter sleeping bag to a summer bag. So about 3 months. The things that I didn't take with me that I wish I had. Really, no. It was actually quite the opposite. Things that I took with me that I didn't wish I had, strictly for the reason of cutting weight. You gotta, when you're trying to through hike the Appalachian Trail, which I was trying to go the whole way, and this was my first backpacking trip ever. I thought I could do the whole way, but I didn't really know what. I knew it was gonna be hard. I didn't know what hard was. So cutting weight was huge. I started with a 50-pound pack. Was way too much when you're hiking 15 to 20 to 30 miles a day. That was way too much. A lot of people who are very experienced, they hiked with 25 to 35-pound packs and ultralight gear, and very, very limited resources. Your bare essentials is what you use, and that's what you need to survive with. You don't need to carry stuff that you may use once on that 3-month to 6-month trip. You need to be carrying something that you're going to be using every single day. I really enjoyed most of my time. My favorite memory is meeting the unique, really good people, and hanging out with my trail buddies when we were in town and we were in warm weather or a hotel or just in a hostel, hanging out together and eating really good homemade food at like a restaurant. That was something special because you really, you take that for granted for everyday life, but when you're hiking every day and you're eating trail food, which is granola bars, oatmeal, ramen noodles, peanut butter, every single day, day after day, a pizza and a beer is like the most sacred thing on this earth, and that's all you think about when you're hiking. My least favorite memories, let's see, really waking up every morning in the very beginning, and the weather was absolutely horrible in the beginning. With the really low temps up in the North Georgia mountains, and the wind was pretty bad. You get out of your sleeping bag. I slept in a hammock. In my hammock, these hammocks are 5 degrees colder than a tent. So I get out of my hammock, I get out of my sleeping bag. I got to make my tent. I got to make my camp. I got to eat my breakfast, and I get to go on the trail. But by the time you get on the trail, your fingers and feet are so numb, they really throb and they hurt so bad. But you really can't go home crying to mommy or whatever. You got to get your butt up, put your shoes on, put your gear on, get your pack made, and you got to start hiking. And about a mile in, you start to thaw out and you start to feel better. And doing that every day was really draining mentally. It was draining physically too, but mentally mostly. That was hard. Advice I would give to somebody to hike the Appalachian Trail would be do your homework before, know what you're getting into. Do before you attempt to do the whole thing, do a 2-week backpacking trip or a 1-week backpacking trip, and know what you're getting into. I didn't know what I was going to do because I've never been on an overnight backpacking trip in my life. I just love the outdoors, so I thought I could handle it. And I did really good for somebody who's never hiked before. I met one other person who was on my status of hiking, who's never done it before. So I would say use a tent, use a tent, not a hammock. Hammocks were nice in very rare conditions, like when you're on a mountainside and there's no level surface for you. All you need is trees for a hammock, but there's really no feeling of home in a hammock because you're so confined to this small little area. In a tent, you have your home. You can get anything in the middle of the night. You can wake up in the middle of the night and grab something to eat or something to drink. In a hammock, everything's stored under you. I have to make my pack every single night and store it underneath my hammock and make my pack stay underneath the hammock where if it rains, when it rains, because it rained a lot at night and it rained a lot on the trail, my pack wouldn't get wet. Because like I said, you got to stay warm and you got to stay dry. So definitely use a tent, and also I recommend you not going with somebody. Not a bad thing. I'm still friends with the person I went with, but most people who hike the Appalachian Trail I met, they went solo. They went by themselves. So they would meet up with people quickly and become friends with people. But after a while, they'd hike with this group week after week, and they get sick of each other. Well, it's not like you're breaking a friendship. You just leave and go hang out with a different group, meet up with different people, hike by yourselves, because you get sick of being attached by the hip with somebody, because after a while, you want to strangle them, and that's not good.